the webinar is going to be in English because we are talking about speaking English freely, and it is not going to be fun for me to speak Ukrainian because we're learning to speak English freely. That you will enjoy it anyway, somehow. So what are we going to say about? Today we're going to speak about something mysterious that keeps us back speaking English usage in everyday life, not only in school. And we will explore it a little bit. You understand that we have only half an hour to do that. And there will be some practical pieces of advice, maybe not the tasks, but pieces of advice, which you should try on your own, because I'm editor-in-chief. Maybe you have read editor-in-chief of 2 magazines. You can see them on the screen now. I have you can see them not just because I'm connected to them, to publish them, to be responsible for whatever is inside, but it is also little steps that you can make to you and your colleagues and your students to use English freely, because I know that you will use English freely when you read a lot, when you listen to it a lot, when you have some strengths to speak it, and you should do it a lot. And that's why these 2 magazines, they are of course about teaching and about psychology, and they are practical because they give you some practical challenges in teaching work, and they are in English. So it is one little step that you can help yourself by reading an article. Believe me, you get more and more English and works in English, and it helps a lot. Okay, I would not recommend to translate them. I would recommend to look up the dictionary for new words which maybe you can come across. It's possible, and it is okay. We should language. Okay, so try and help a lot in your own English developmental skills. Okay, so I understand that everyone is happy, everyone is saying hello. I'd like to tell you that I'm very excited to have this webinar because I'm on the other side of the planet. Right now I'm in the United States of America, in Cincinnati. I'm welcomed in American house. I live with American family, and I'm very excited that I, being here, have an opportunity to talk to my Ukrainian colleagues and friends. To see your hi, привіт, доброго дня. I'm very happy about this, and I'm absolutely excited how advanced technology can, and I think it is a wonderful thing. So keep that in mind, that right now you have a webinar from the United America. It's important for me as well as for you. We have only half an hour. Any questions? If you have some very important questions for you to ask, no doubts, please use the chat, write it in any language that is comfortable for you to type. English, Ukrainian, Russian. I like questions. I'll do my best to answer them, but do understand that the time is very limited, and maybe some questions, I'm sorry for that, but if they are typed, it means that I always I like when people want to improve their English, and the teaching starts with the teacher. If the teacher has got this desire, I also like to learn something new every time when I do something. I like challenging myself, and I like to challenge my students, but in a good way. Okay, so, and I hope you'll participate with me today. For example, right now you will see a question on the screen. There will be a question, but you should not answer the question in the chart. Don't use chat to answer it. Use this screen to answer it. Let's start, okay? Right now, I hope so, you will see the screen. Look at the presentation. Very good. I think that right now you should see the question. Let's wait for a little bit. Let me know with your plus in chat if you see the question. Oh, perfect! Wow, advanced auditory, and it is a question about me personally, Nadia Klimishina. Okay, so think about Nadia Klimishina, and if I had a language barrier when I started learning English. Okay, so just if you think yes, you press yes. If you think no, you press no. And I'm absolutely impressed with your activeness. Thank you very much. You can hear me talk right now. You see how I use my language, and it is my that I can do. But the question is about my past. Okay, did I have a language barrier before or not? Okay, so a little bit. We're waiting for a little bit. I see that there can be a slow connection. That's why we will wait a little bit more. And please, on the screen, okay, so you know, as I understood, you know where to click to answer, because I see some answers in chat, and thank you very much for your answers in the chat. But maybe you can answer in on the screen for us to have a beautiful information. Okay. Thank you very much. It took us, I don't know, 1 minute to get, okay, some people are still answering, which is good. We needed only 1 minute to get 94 answers on the screen. And right now, let me, okay, so I think that I will finish it right now. I hope that you can hear me, and you'll see, I hope, you see, I don't see your screen, I see this little question. Again, I will remind you, the question was absolutely personal question. Not directly have a language barrier. And 59%, no, I'm sorry, 61% thinks that yes, I did. And 38% of people think, no, not that didn't have any language barrier. Thank you very much. It's a lot of people. That I didn't have it. To tell you the truth, I say something question 8% wrong. So it was some example to show you that English barrier, it is something that is temporary. It is not forever. And it is something that you can overcome. And even if you have it right now, or your colleagues or your students, it doesn't mean that, I don't know, something bad with the connection, but I go on. I hope it's only temporary and not with everyone. So as a result, 61% of your answers were correct. Yes, I had a language barrier. I did a lot to overcome it. I still think that I still have some kind of part of it still inside me, because it doesn't let you go so easily. But I believe that it is possible to overcome it. Okay? What do I mean by this? Yes, Mykola, thank you very much for your note, of course. And even right now, sometimes I don't know how exactly I have to express myself, and if people are patient enough, wait for my thinking. What is it, language barrier? How to recognize it? When you know that, oh, this is area, something happened. So like how to recognize that a person has or hasn't got a language barrier? Do you have any ideas? I can get the idea. I think that maybe I understood it in the way that the feeling of fear. Thank you, Tatiana. Sometimes we know what to say. Ridiculous you should recognize when they are in doubt, should I speak or not, always encourage them to speak. Okay? Whenever you have a doubt, if you have to speak or not, just speak. Okay? So, and for a while, it needs a lot of practice. It needs a lot of practice to understand that this doubt gives you an opportunity to think it over and make a step forward. There is one more when we don't understand the conversation. You know, when you don't understand the conversation, by the way, it can happen in any language, even in the native one. Yes? Sometimes you're listening to people and like, what are they talking about? Maybe some words are not pronunciation enough. Maybe the topic they are discussing is not one that you are strong in. And that's why when so I'm back, right? Oh, thank you very much. You see, it happens. You remember, I'm on the other. Very good. Okay, thank you very much. Everybody's back and I'm back. So the next question. So first, for your students to understand how to recognize the feeling that they have a language barrier. It is when they have something to say, but it is very, but they're very afraid to do that. Okay, so this is step number one. Just go forward. Try to go forward. As a teacher, you should encourage them to do that. The next question that is very important to explore, and I think the question will sound very funny. I hope you can see it on the screen right now. I sometimes can come up with a suitable word. Yes, but it is not the language barrier. It means that your vocabulary is not active enough to find the exact word that you want to say. Believe me, it happens with, so I think that it is not the illustration of language barrier, but the illustration of the fast work of brain, like you want to express yourself exactly and you don't know how. Katerina shared something like when students don't want to speak. It is another topic. It is about motivation, okay? So we will talk about it later. Thank you very much for the question. Okay, so where is it? What do you think? Where the language barrier is? Is it in front of you? Is it in the book? Is it in our family? Is it in our tradition or culture? Where is it? One of the reasons is having things on your mind is in the native language, in person played. Yes, that's why I prefer not to translate translation. And sometimes people think that you're slow. What happened to her? She's silent, but because we're using two languages. Oh, thank you for the answers. I agree. It is all in your mind. Yes, the barrier is over here, somewhere there. Excellent. It's wonderful that you understand. Sometimes I don't know what to speak about. Yes, it is totally about motivation. Okay. And if we come back to the question where the language barrier is, you should understand that it is not in our family. We are not born with this feeling. It is just in my mind. Okay? Let's go to the next question that I think is very important to answer. I hope you can see it on the screen right now. Again, the lack of vocabulary or the lack of grammar are not the reasons for very good, Alona. Thank you very much. That is something that we should pay attention to. When you are scared to make a mistake, it is incredibly hard for your brain to build an absolutely perfect sentence. That is the problem, and that's why it is in our head, okay? Because it is our own choice to be afraid of mistakes. We keep it in our mind, we are slow, and when we're finally sure about 100%. But the question is, who built this barrier in our mind? Who does it? You should start thinking in English. And to start thinking in English, you should read English with pleasure. That is important. Poor vocabulary. Poor vocabulary is the problem. I agree. But it is not the main idea, the main reason why you can't speak. You still can find, because thinking goes faster than speaking. Yes, it is very psychological, very important part of our brain working. And yes, I think that now we have the answer. Who built it? We build it. Maybe I will tell you something. Thank you, Svetlana Boyka. Yes, we. But please don't feel as a champion. I think that right now I will say something that maybe some of you will disagree, but I ask you to think about it. It's up to you, agree to disagree. I believe that this barrier is built with help of a teacher. Both of them, they are working on this barrier. Sometimes really hard. They spend a lot of time doing mistakes, being afraid of mistakes, and correcting in a very negative way. And sometimes, like every time when you work with a student and the negative emotion is there, when a student is learning with negative emotion, believe me, at this very moment, you are building the wall that you can see on the screen of the language. Personally, I have a huge barrier to math. Okay, I think that it is incredibly hard and my brain cannot take it. Just because in my childhood, I made so many mistakes and I was judged so harshly that right now I even don't want to go that way. So that's why every time when you understand that you have a barrier in your head, please think about it, that you yourself, they do a good job, but sometimes they builders of this barrier for their child's success, because the child is just afraid. Psychology tells us that when you are afraid, you can learn. That's true. But if you compare the results of learning in negative emotion and in emotion, you will see that the effectiveness of a positive emotion during learning gives you, I don't know, 3 times more results than a negative emotion. You can learn something just because you are scared. That's true. Our brain works like that because it wants to survive. But we are learning English not to survive. We are learning and teaching English to enjoy it. If you'd like your students and yourself to enjoy, stop building language barrier. Find other ways how to correct mistakes. Again, the time is very limited to how to correct mistakes, but we can have a next webinar about it because it is very interesting topic. Some questions to explore. It is not the end. I hope that you can hear me well. I see that there is something wrong with the connection, and we have the next question, okay, to explore. I hope that you can see it on the screen, and it is also very important. I think we answer it, that's why I will do it very fast. New question is, take some time, I'm sorry. Yes, what is it made of? We have said it already. The language barrier is made of mistakes that you were punished for. Be very careful. Not every mistake creates the barrier. Some mistakes, thank you very much, Katerina, for the question about how to motivate students to break a language barrier. Under webinar, exploring features. Please love mistakes. Okay, so try to be positive about the experience of the right steps. One more question, and I believe it is the last one when we explore the language barrier, and it is going to be like this one. Yes, about motivation. It is a big question. So why do we have a language barrier, right? It is like a conclusion to all the questions that we answered before. So first, we don't like take risks, and psychologically it is quite understandable. What shall we begin with? Yes, there will be, I hope there will be some time for me to tell you about that as well. Thank you very much, Diana, for a very good question. So to summarize, we should recognize that we have it, because without it we cannot move forward. We should be positive about mistakes. We enjoy the learning process as a teacher and as a learner, okay? So, and it takes some time for our brain to be in an absolutely friendly atmosphere and for them to try. So right now I will have one more very quick survey that you will see on the screen. Do as you did before, please. You corresponding, I don't know, something button, I think, to answer the next question. It will take some time. So you will see the question right now on the screen. Please answer it on this, okay? So, and it is again yes, no question, so it is very easy to answer. I hope that you can see the question. Can you? because I can't. That's why I have a problem with understanding what's going on. Okay, learning for joy. You know, that is how you can enjoy learning. Thank you, Lydia, for the remark. Yes. Does everyone have a language barrier when they learn to speak a foreign language? Think and just press yes or no. Okay, choose your answer. Ooh, I have 3 minutes to finish, but I hope that it will not take so much time. There are 245 listeners right now. I'm very excited. So it means the topic is very important. Oh, I wish I had more time. It hides so many that sometimes you even don't complicate it. How can we know? Thank you, Zoya. Wonderful question. I like it. Of course, you never know, but just your guess. What do you think? Okay, that's the question for your. And by the way, it is interesting to know the screen. As you think, okay, so you met some people, you were the teacher, you have your students, you have your students' parents, you know something about this area. Just share your example, like if everyone you met had a language barrier, so then the answer will be yes. Oh, I think this question is more the hardest one, yes? Only 17 people answered so far. Tatiana, I believe you can see it on the screen, but I can read it aloud. Or does everyone have a language barrier when they learn to speak a foreign language? What do you think? Is it a necessary, step to have a barrier? I think that we got all the answers who wanted to answer. Not so many people answered. Okay, but maybe that was a difficult question. I'm finishing the voting, and right now I believe you will see the answers on the screen. The answers on the screen that you see include only those people, only those answers which were made on the screen. Okay, so only 19 people answered, but thank you very much for participation. We can see that 78% believe that yes, everyone should have it, right? So it is some kind of something new. I will do it very fast, and then this is Marilyn, my host mother. Ukrainian people right now. We have majority of teachers right now in our group right now who think that the language barrier is something that everyone has. To tell you the truth, I met people who didn't, and it had nothing to do with their age. Sometimes we think, and sometimes as they can, and if the teacher is very creative, how to say, if the teacher does everything step by step, and the little kid, the very young learner gets a lot of information to express very simple thoughts, so it means that this child probably will not have any language. I met adults who have no problems at all in speaking English. If you don't have a language barrier, at least you can use all knowledge you now, if you have a language barrier, you can know a lot, but it is obsessive and useless. So that's why language barrier makes it all difficult for those who are struggling. I hope that I can go on with some question that I'd like you, we started with that. Somebody in our group in the beginning, you wrote, had you personally overcome the barrier before you moved to the USA? Thank you, Tatiana. Yes, I came to the United States without any barrier at all. It was my hard job in Ukraine. I did it in Ukraine. I think that I answered the question that you can see on the screen, but I'm very short of time. You see, there are two stations like A and B. And the question is where it is possible to break a language barrier. And I will tell you the truth that it is easier to break it at home. You have more time. When you come to the foreign country, and you have limited time, I believe. If you have a language barrier, it means that the first week you will be struggling yourself, you will feel bad, you will feel embarrassed, you will not enjoy the maximum what can country and people around you give. So my experience, the first time I broke my barrier, it happened in Izum, Kharkiv region. I was invited as a teacher trainer. I will use the time as long as you can see me. The last thing that you can see on the screen, I hope that still you can see my screen. These are short steps to meet people. Believe me, all special people are around you. So it is something that I do every day in a cafe. That is the easiest because cafes are somehow in English. Number 4.2, read English articles teaching. Very good. If it is hard, keep on trying because it will help you a lot with English. Watch English TV shows. Yes, it is difficult. And I remember my first year of watching TV shows on the screen when somebody would, because they understood jokes and I didn't, just please don't quit, don't give up, go on, find the opportunity. Number 3, maximize English in your classroom. It is about motivation of your students. Number 5, take part in English seminar for teachers. Okay, so please, you are invited to every seminar that I have. I usually have them in English. Number 8, for students, yes, number 8 is to read in the magazines that you can subscribe and to be in touch with me, not personally, but through the magazine, through the articles that we share and encourage your students to speak English more with help of activities that you can find in the magazine. Okay? Sorry for taking you for so long, for keeping you in front of the screens for so long. I understand that I ignored some questions that are important, and we will come back for it to it. But right now, I'm just grateful to you